So just I want to request all the participants if they can simply turn off their cameras and let the presenter to only switch on this camera, because then we'll be having some distortions, right? Yes. For those who don't have a good internet facility. So please, I would like to request that I myself will also be turning off the camera from home.
So thank you, dear friend, dear participants. I know that since last 3-4 days, you people are in this training program on this capacity building of SARC professionals on commercial scale biogas plants. And I'm really very pleased to be here with you, interacting with the participants. My experience of this renewable energy field is, say, about 38, 39 years. So the topic given to me is regulations and challenges linked with the development of commercial biogas plant. Am I audible, dear friends?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So the topic is regulations and challenges. Now here you can see the biogas plant. Somewhere it comes under the green energy. Some people call it the clean energy, renewable energy. It is biofuel. So all this kind of notations people use for this biogas plant. So next, please. Next slide. Yeah. So here you can see the environmental protection is becoming a huge and urgent problem for modern industry. Although the growth in population and the scientific and technical developments in society have contributed to well-being, the development and implementation of new technologies, along with a rise in material consumption, have also led to an increase in energy consumption and the volume of generated waste. So we are consuming more means we are generating more waste. So global warming issues and the reduction of greenhouse gases emissions are high on many political agendas, and many scientists urge immediate change to existing energy systems. In the climate also, you can realize that what kind of global warming we are facing nowadays. So in addition to carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, N2O, and fluorinated gases are important greenhouse gases. So methane is approximately 25 times as powerful as carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. Methane is generated in nature as a result of the decay of humming. Okay, recording is started.
Yes, Mr. Shukla, please continue.
Should I continue?
Yeah, please.
There was some disturbance.
Yeah, I think some of the participants is having like unmuted, so okay. I think that has been taken care now.
Yeah, thank you. So methane is approximately 25 times as powerful as carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. Methane is generated in nature as a result of the decay of plant and animal matter. But there are also natural sinks which remove excess methane. However, extra methane is emitted because of anthropogenic activities, and this amount of to almost 50% of the total global methane emissions. So wherever you find the sewage, wherever you find the waste biomass collection at any site, you can feel that methane is emitting in that area. So human activities are estimated to have already caused approximately 1 degree centigrade of global warming above pre-industrial level. Furthermore, large quantities of methane destroy ozone, which reduces Earth's protection against ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So anthropogenic methane is emitted from waste, landfill gas, municipal wastewater in solid waste, agriculture, livestock and industry, fossil fuel production. So many sources are there which emit methane. the methane produced from these sources can be used for biogas production very well. So one side we call it waste, but another side it is good input material for the generation of biogas, thus reducing greenhouse gases emissions, and at the same time saving energy and material resources. So you are attending this training program since last 3-4 days, gone through different presentations, and know much about this biogas, which is really very high calorific value. One thing people must have cleared you that the natural gas is nothing but the methane. So here in this case also in biogas, if you increase the concentration of methane to 90%, above 90%, it becomes the same as natural gas. Then the calorific value also goes up to 10,000 kilocalorie. So biogas energy production can transform a costly problem into a profitable solution. One side it was a problem in industries. Here in India also, in few industries we faced that it was polluted material which they were throwing out in nearby nalas at the river, but now they are collecting it in proper way and using it for production of biogas. So the largest underutilized resources for biogas production are in the agriculture sector. Animal husbandry is the main source of environmental pollution in rural areas. So the predominant sources of pollution from this industry are unorganized emissions from collection ponds and manure storage facilities, which release harmful substances. So anaerobic treatment of livestock waste in biogas plants has several benefits, include sharp reduction in environmental contamination and pathogens, the elimination of odors associated with livestock production, and the reduction of harmful emissions into the atmosphere. So biogas is formed in the process of anaerobic fermentation, which simultaneously disinfects the waste. Utilizing anaerobic fermentation of animal waste in tannery could fully or partially meet the energy needs of husbandry industries. Similarly, in piggeries also, in poultry also, the excreta which is being collected can be easily converted into biogas. So, biogas plants, unlike biodiesel and bioethanol, biogas is mainly produced from organic waste. So, there is no question of the debate between food and fuel, because we use only waste material, not the edible material. Of course, in few areas where we are using the wastage of makkah, maize, means converting this maize into glucose and fructose, and whatever waste comes out, of course, that can be used as the feed material for the cattle. But if you use it for generation of biogas, that is the energy value of that waste maize is very high. So it is equally important that rising greenhouse gas emissions, increased consumption, pollution of water, declining land fertility, inefficient pest management, and deforestation are the results of inefficient use of natural resources around the world. So biogas as a source of energy is an important component in the chain of measures to combat these problems. However, realization of the full potential of biogas is slow, and uptake is occurring at different rates depending on the available sources. So, as a result, the biogas energy supply is generally very low compared to other sources of bioenergy. That we can see in the atmosphere also, or we can see in different countries. So, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Here it's a photograph you can see in a farm. I think this is the photograph of Aachen of Germany. So the green, this polyethylene sheet you can see it is full of biogas. So in the farm site itself, using the agro waste, you can set up the biogas plant. So all the edible material can be sold in the market, and the waste can be converted into biogas, which is being used for running the irrigation pumps. And similarly, you can store this biogas and sell it as cooking gas. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, here in this slide, the last one was the green one, means where they were using the agro waste. Here they are using the industrial waste. So the color of that sheet is blue. So blue is indicating that in this plant they are using some industrial waste for converting this into biogas. Next slide, please. Biogas production process, this is one overview. You can see the raw material is collected, put inside the inlet, then it goes inside the digester. Once it reaches to the ratio, CN ratio of 1:29 or near to that, then the biogas produced and this can be utilized. So this is a simple production process overview of a biogas plant. People might have seen number of times in last 3-4 days. Next, please. So these are the sources of biomass: agriculture crop and residues, forestry crops and residues. Those who are in touch with the forest people might be knowing that million of tons of forest residue is being collected or comes out from the forest area. I live in Chhattisgarh. It's a province of India where 40-45% area is forest. And I know that huge quantity of forest produce comes out, which is seriously I can say that it has no proper use. So if people set up biogas plant where they can use the forest residues, this can be a good source. Then industrial residues, of course. In most of the industries where they are using this process of agriculture, then they can use this industrial residue for that. So animal residues, then municipal solid waste, the huge source again, the main source nowadays for production of biogas. Next slide, please. So now let us discuss about the risk in setting up commercial size or community biogas plants. So the first, in first slide, I would like to discuss the technical barriers. So technical barriers or the risk in development of commercial size biogas plants. One of the crucial technical barrier is infrastructure challenge in developed countries. This primarily affects the transport sector. Limited access to refueling stations that makes it difficult to use biogas vehicles, creating a bad reputation for biogas as a feasible fuel for vehicle, thus hindering its expansion. I saw in Sweden, widespread implementation of biogas refueling structure is significantly more expensive than for liquid fuel. In Denmark, fuel stations for methane are limited because of higher technical requirement of CH4 than for diesel, for example. So this creates uncertainty regarding fuel storage and infrastructure available for CH4 delivery and its distribution. So the lack of underground pipelines and connections to the national grid, like in many country, in many part of this country also, there is pipeline for LPG distribution. There are pipeline for natural gas distribution. But for this biogas distribution, there is lack of storage in its infrastructure. So lack of underground pipeline and connections to the national grid, as well as another technical challenges such as appropriate waste segregation, waste collection, and waste allocation and storage create difficulties to distribute and utilize the biogas plant. So infrastructural challenges such as the availability of feedstock can also be an issue. Rural households could lack the required number of cattle or poultry to generate enough animal dung for production of sufficient amount of biogas in order to meet the needs of a household. For a small size, of course, you can think if you have 8 cattle, maximum 8 cattle in a house, you can set up a biogas plant of say 6 cubic meter or 8 cubic meter, which is sufficient to meet out the energy requirement of your house. You can run a small generator for the electricity, and then simultaneously you can use it for in cooking stoves. So non-control systems of accumulation of liquid effluents from agro-industry complex led to contamination of drinking water sources and soil. As in the case of rural areas in few countries, there is problem of arsenic contamination of drinking water. Here in India also, in many areas we are facing these issues. So a small scale biogas plant based on polygeneration system can provide both clean energy and drinking water. Polygeneration system consists of a gas engine and a cooking stove integrated with a digester. Here we call it as a community biogas plant in rural areas, where the total number of cattle, suppose it is more than 2,000, then easily one community biogas plant can be set up. But it would be successful only if it is the commercial venture. So a polygeneration system consists of gas engine and a cooking stove integrated with a digester, where waste heat from the engine operates a thermally driven water purifier, so-called membrane distillation unit. So in the case of rural China, the connection of toilets to biogas plants prevent the contamination of drinking water and occurrence of infectious diseases by human and animal fecal matter. So in addition, the decomposition of organic waste in forms of lecith also releases toxic liquid that gets into soil, groundwater, and through them to river and sea. So biogas plants can recycle organic waste, thus eliminate this contamination. So this is one risk, yes. So in the best case, they might complement energy from biogas with additional energy source like firewood, dung, or charcoal. So in worst way, they might abandon or refuse the use of biogas technologies. So the type of feedstock in use of biogas production can be an issue. In country like Australia as well as in Germany, the biogas production comes mostly from energy crops. Like I get the example of maize. So Pongamia can be there or Jatropha can be there. So these are all energy crops which can be used for generation of biogas, because these are not edible crops. So these crops were primarily cultivated for food and fodder production. Thus, the use of energy crops for energy production received a bad reputation in public opinions and governments, as it created a negative impact on food security. For example, the palm oil. Palm oil is edible, but if you convert that palm oil into biodiesel, that can be a good substitute of this fossil diesel. And so again, there would be debate on food versus fuel if you use the edible in any case. So poor collection, improper segregation, a lack of vehicle, and inadequate waste transportation, that increases the risk of supply chain disruption and create a barrier for utilizing waste in biogas production. In Latin America, household digesters depend on organic waste and local materials. So in most of the houses in Latin America, in rural area, they use biogas plant. But for commercial size biogas plant, of course, there should be proper infrastructure for collection of these agro or the home waste, the slurry collection for commercial size. However, due to long and difficult transportation routes, the collection of substrate, construction material, and diffusion of digester are not always possible in rural and remote areas. So hence the need to have suitable land for installation of the equipment and a sufficient number of animals to supply the waste are constraint factor for very poorest communities. In industrial area, of course, it is possible. If you know the quantity of waste, the effluent which is available in that area, accordingly you can design the digester and set up plant. I have seen in Aachen of Germany, more than 50 such commercial size biogas plants are installed using industrial effluent. Next slide, please. So again, continuing this technical waste, unavailability of local biogas technologies can be a challenge to the deployment of biogas as a source of energy. In Ethiopia, there is a dependence on non-local material, which increases investment cost and maintenance problems. Due to unavailability of local technology in Malaysia, and Orbit digester technologies are imported from other countries such as Germany. So this fact also creates high equipment costs and dependency on imports. As you know that for commercial, this small KVIC model or floating dome type of biogas plant is not feasible. So you'll have to import the technology. So in some countries, they are using the BIMA according to the atmosphere climatic condition of that country. But in some simple USB technology is being provided, is the upflow in orbit digestion system. But for all these, if you are importing the technology, if you are importing the system machines for setting up this plant, of course, there is no machine, no gearbox, nothing is there in biogas plant. It's a system, an orbit system, which is required to be designed properly. So this fact also creates high equipment cost and dependency on imports. If you want to set up the engine, gas engine, biogas engine, 100% biogas engine in India, you'll have to import it. A low number of specialized companies, qualified specialists, construction businesses, and technologists specializing in designing, constructing, and exploring agriculture biogas is a challenging task for the adoption of biogas technologies. In addition, insufficient knowledge of the use of fertilizing values of digestate among farmers hampers successful production of biogas and biofertilizer. See, any biogas plant, it would never be viable if you can't sell the slurry which comes out from the biogas plant. So first of all, here also I realized in one commercial sized biogas plant, he had to get his biofertilizer approved from the agriculture university. He submitted that certificate to the government. Then once the government approved, yes, you can now sell this to the farmers, only then you can do. So that is one risk. The slurry which is coming out from your biogas plant, that should be properly tested. And farmers should therefore be educated in proper use of, for example, animal manure for producing biogas and biofertilizer. In India, a lack of training and education for householders, especially women, is an important barrier in relation to the maintenance of digester. So for a small size, it could be barrier, but for commercial size, of course, it is a benefit. So training of the people is very important. Training in use of digester as well as their maintenance is important for ensuring efficient delivery of energy to households. So it is considered to be a necessary means of informing users about biogas benefits, its correct operation and maintenance, limitations and safety of biogas plants. So many researchers, they outline frequent need for repair and lack of attention to the maintenance. As you know that stirrer is there inside the biogas plant, so there should always be movement of raw material inside your digester, otherwise it will be choked. So that kind of training is required for the person, those who are working with that. So no such technical or training institutes, if it is not there in that area, so that is risk in setting up plant without proper trained, skilled people in that area. And as you know that the calorific value of biogas is dependent on the composition of biogas and remains one of the most important issues for its utilization. So the composition of biogas can be changed if the operating parameters are varied. Factors such as temperature, retention time, rate of input to the digester, composition of feedstock, etc. People might have gone through such presentation. Here, you would have seen that in some technology, retention time is just 4 days, and in KVIC model, retention time is 40 days. So it all depends that what kind of technology you're using. Similarly, the quantity of water is also dependent on the technology. Somewhere it is in ratio of 1:1, somewhere it is in ratio of just 1:0.25. So therefore, the calorific value depends on many operating parameters. So in addition, the complex composition of biogas accompanied by unfavorable impurities such as nitrogen gas, oxygen, hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, ammonia can also cause problems such as corrosion. So whenever we use the biogas, so we route it through the scrubber. That is important, and a scrubber should also be designed properly, so that you can remove all these gases, which otherwise reduces the calorific value of the gas. If you can remove all these gases, 99.9%, then the calorific value of your biogas, which becomes CBG, Now, new term we use, the compressed biogas, CBG. So, CBG, its calorific value will be more than 10,000 kilocalorie. So, during winter, the biogas production rate can decrease and may not be sufficient for the needs of the people living in farms. So, you'll have to arrange in the cold area, you'll have to arrange heating of the water before mixing with the raw material. So the main operating limiting factor is the reduction of gas supply during winter season. So this happens because low temperature affect the biogas fermentation process by increasing the viscosity of the liquid. So in the northern region of rural China, where there are very cold winters, the operational temperature for the promotion of biogas is restricted. So normally they avoid using this biogas plant. So before setting up the plant, this kind of due diligence is required. That in that area, what is the temperature, the minimum temperature, the maximum temperature? These are all technical parameters which are required to be addressed. Next slide, please. So this is one example analyzing key constraints to biogas production from crop residues and manure. So on left hand side, you can see assumptions, and the right hand side, the data. So a lot of studies are available, and I think in few presentations, the technical experts would have shown these slides. So residue to crop ratio, alternative uses of residues. So during the research and the studies, we normally note down all these things. I could get the opportunity to set up plant like from kitchen waste to energy. One plant I set up in Maurya Sheraton Hotel of Delhi, where we were using the waste of that hotel and generating biogas, which they are using in their kitchen. Similar kind of biogas plant was installed in Bajaj, Pune, where about 4,000 labor were there in 3 shifts. So the canteen was there. So we were using all these. And for 2 years, we collected the data that what is the impact of temperature, what is the impact of different raw material in that. So this is one example analyzing key constant to biogas production from crop residues or the different biomass resources. Next slide, please. So this one also a schematic diagram. We can skip it, please. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. So the second risk is the economic barrier. The economic risk in setting up commercial size or bigger size biogas plant. So economic considerations play a major role in the choice of energy source. Biogas installations require high investment costs. This includes the cost of construction of biogas plant, procurement of equipment, hiring technical staff, introduction of technology, and so on. See, surprisingly, you people might have gone through this data also. 25 kg of cattle dung, cow dung or the buffalo dung, 25 kg of that dung is sufficient to produce 1 cubic meter of gas. 8 kg of piggeries waste is sufficient to produce 1 cubic meter of gas. And 4 kg of poultry etc. is sufficient to produce 1 cubic meter of gas. It means when you are designing a biogas plant, it is very important that what is feedstock in that. So that makes the project viable. In the case of biogas digester, even though the feedstock is free, the treatment and transportation cost of feedstock, especially over long distances, are negatively affecting the economics of biogas power plant. If you are transporting the feedstock from very far from the area, then definitely transportation cost will be quite high and project would not be viable. So equally important is the case of biomethane, where the installation of a purification unit and a gas conditioning unit requires higher investment cost, which performs as an obstacle for biomethane to expand gas grid injection. So the building of biogas power plant is becoming more complicated due to inability of bank loans with preferential terms. Furthermore, the area of agricultural land can affect the possibility of building biogas plant. In Germany, higher competition in the land market leads to increasing land prices. It is, I think, everywhere. The land cost is increasing. So you'll have to select the land which is available at reasonable price, but simultaneously, the feedstock should also be available in nearby area. So the high cost of managing and maintaining biogas plant further affects farmers' commitment to using biogas or the developers' commitment to using biogas. So even in country like Germany, which is significantly the most progressive European country in terms of biogas production, as I heard that more than 4,000 commercial sized biogas plants are there in that country, so which is significantly the most progressive European country. So a levelized cost of electricity for biogas technology is relatively high. See, there is one term we use in power sector, that is levelized cost of electricity. So when we compare this with the wind or the solar, we'll find that the levelized cost of electricity in case of biogas is very high. Because 2.2 pond biogas is required to generate 1 unit of electricity. So you'll have to set up a use size biogas plant if you want to set up a generator of 1 megawatt only. So even for meeting out the requirement of that, a huge quantity of biogas is required. So the levelized cost of electricity would definitely be very high. So high investment cost together with widespread poverty are critical economic barriers in developing countries. Next slide, please. So continuing with this economic risk barrier points, key feature of biogas technology is that almost all expenses are upfront, while operating expenses are very low. So this fact creates problem to potential users with a low capital base. The cost can be considered as a critical factor affecting consumer decisions and implementation of biogas projects, and that's why in almost all the countries for capex model, funding is required or the grant is required. So most of the central government are providing subsidies for this commercial size biogas plants, because upfront cost is very high. The majority of digesters currently in use in the world are immobile, fixed dome, and floating drum types, which are not experienced if the land where the digester is installed is not owned by the user due to high investment cost. So the endemic and widespread nature of poverty in country like Kenya also makes it difficult for users to afford the upfront cost of these systems. However, in some cases, there are possible solutions to construct a small-scale biogas plants with low initial investment cost. Like in case of 2 cubic meter or 3 cubic meter biogas plant, the cost is in Indian rupees, it is hardly 15,000 to 20,000 rupees for a small size biogas plant. In a project for the reduction of deforestation and support of climate change mitigation, the government of India, they supported a biogas plant in national park area or the fringe area. We call it fringe area, 5 kilometer area of national park in centuries area. So in those areas, to protect the forest, the government support financially to construct a small size or the community size, even community size biogas plants. So thick tubular polyethylene material is used in construction instead of concrete and brick machinery. The photographs which I shown in my slides, the blue one and the green one, these are all polyethylene material. The efficiency of this type of system is equal to traditional designs, such as fixed dome digesters. Such method of biogas plant construction is already implemented in many parts of this country. And in Kenya also, Tanzania, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, I've seen in maximum countries, they are using this kind of plant because these are viable, not very expensive. And the lack of government incentives contribute to the low adoption of rate of technologies. The countries where the financial support is less, then the development of this program is also not there. So it is pointed out that in Denmark, the government needs to consider policy instruments such as subsidizing the investment of biogas plants with new technologies or subsidizing the purchase of gas-driven vehicles. That is also very important. Wherever you want to use the gas in place of the fossil fuel, then some subsidy should be given on the basic price also. So in family size biogas plants are still costly for without government subsidy, like 8 cubic meter or 15 cubic meter biogas plants for bigger families. So it costs a lot. In absence of direct government subsidies in country like Uruguay to improve old waste treatment plants, in few countries they call it waste treatment plant. They don't call it biogas because their motive is to treat the waste of that area. And the biogas is byproduct. And the slurry which comes out, they use it as manure. So they call it manure plant, or they call it waste treatment plant. So in country like Bangladesh, some initiatives to promote community-based biogas plants are unable to gain traction because of no financial support programs exist. But recently, they also they have planned and announced some scheme for subsidizing commercial biogas plants. There is no level playing field for new biogas technologies competing with conventional fossil fuel technologies, especially when the economic structure is in many developing countries favors fossil fuel over renewable fuels. There were a lot of subsidies for LPG, which is being imported. There is subsidy on petrol. There was subsidy in diesel. But now, as you know, that year by year now, they are removing these subsidies on fossil fuel. So definitely this biogas plant will come up, and then only you can compare the cost of that biogas with the existing fuel. So another case is presented in Poland, where many politicians support the development of renewable technologies, but also favor the construction of nuclear power plants. At the same time, the national government in Bolivia subsidized fossil fuel, justifying it as a way to promote economic development. Like in India, you might be knowing that the solar energy is being promoted by government like anything. The cost of solar panel, which was about 180, 170 rupees per watt in the year 2010, now it has come down to 18 or 19 rupees per watt solar panel. Means 110. The cost has come down to 110. And the solar power, which was available at the rate of say about 11 rupees or 12 rupees, now we are signing the PPA of solar energy at the rate of 2 rupees 38 paisa to 2 rupees 39 paisa, that too for 25 years. PPA we are signing. So similar kind of thing can come if you reduce the subsidy on fossil fuel, and if you want to promote this, so then there would not be any economic risk, the barrier in setting up commercial size biogas plants. So lack of research and development funding is seen in many countries. That is also required, particularly for in educational institutions. Government should launch one scheme that there should be a certain percentage of their funding should be for R&D in biogas plant. That should be promoted. So energy technologies and their implementation are not taught in details in most engineering and technical courses at universities and colleges in developing countries. Like I also did my course, especially I did the course of this biogas from IIT Delhi after engineering, after completing my engineering, because I had some interest in this field. So sufficient course material is not available in engineering courses for this kind of technologies. Next slide, please. So this is graphical presentation, million tons oil equivalent of different types of biomass or the input material. Next slide, please. Now, the next point is the market barrier, market risk. So lower prices of fossil fuels and high price, we already discussed. Biogas are critical market barriers. Biogas is more expensive than natural gas. And this fact concerns and consumers as it creates a risk for them to pay more than usual. Yeah. So the price of biogas must be competitive to other. Hello. The price of biogas must be competitive to other available fuels in order for it to reach the public sector. So several studies provide a complex analysis of biogas in relation to natural gas. So this is one major barrier for that. Manufacturer of digested-based products have difficulties in competing with existing soil and organic fertilizer manures manufacturers. As retailers and garden centers prefer suppliers that have a range of products and that can deliver large quantities. So thus market barrier could lead to lack of participation from biogas plant developers. Next slide, please. So again, this is one slide. I'm showing you lack of market openness, lack of awareness among market participants. This leads to decreases participation of private sector, uncertainty increases, hence cost. Next slide, please. Now we come to the institutional barriers. The literature review found that governmental involvement remains essential. In many cases, it is not a market-driven item. So the governmental involvement is essential in this. In many cases, there is a lack of political support and specific programs to promote biogas technologies. Here in our country also, I have observed that few states are promoting this program, biogas program, in institutional manner. So the energy sector has not received significant attention in policy debates within developing countries. So my observation is that an incomplete network of actors and the highly centralized and hierarchical nature of programs hinder the contribution of the private sector. And bureaucratic issues are still need to overcome in order to receive financing for biogas enterprises. You go to any bank and ask for the loan for setting up this plant, you will find that there is no proper scheme, proper program for sanctioning the loan for this biogas plant. So too many formal requirements, complex administrative and legal procedures create difficulties and slow down the process of installing biogas plants. In Austria, despite of high legal and technical requirements, the administration process of approving the realization of biogas projects lasts at least 3 months. It is very fast. If you get all the clearances for setting up the plant within 3 months, it is faster. So in case of few countries, it goes up to 1 year. Here in our country also, if you want to take the clearance from different departments for setting up commercial size biogas plant, it takes at least 6 months. Therefore, releasing the NOC for this project and should be treated as a green project, green or clean technology project. So the policy landscape is very dynamic and uncertain, which is perceived as problematic in itself. Biogas producers would like to have clear policies and support for the industry. So several studies have mentioned that the future of taxes, incentives, and governmental support. Next slide.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt you, sir, but we are running short of time, so I request you to please do it.
I'll finish it now. I'm coming to the last one now. So subsequently, sufficient information about the development of energy policy can perform. Here you can see that it is lack of coordination. Few people started the work from one side and another group started from either side. At the last, they found that there was no coordination. Next slide, please. So social cultural barriers. I think we covered few points of this under this line also. Lack of public participation and consumer interest is the most critical socio-cultural barrier. For instance, in Ghana, unfamiliarity with the technology is a barrier to biogas uptake. People normally don't accept the biogas in their kitchen. So they ask that what is the raw material is being used for the production of biogas, whereas the biogas means it is methane. whether it is produced from the human excreta or from the cattle dung or from the poultry waste. But ultimately, the final product is biogas, which is methane. But because of lack of the clarity in that, it is not acceptable. Next slide, please. Yes, so lack of educational and guiding materials. Women which are primarily responsible for cooking. So for cooking, they resist in using this biogas. But yes, if you are setting up the commercial plant, so commercially produced biogas can be stored in tanks, in cylinders, and that can be used in industrial purposes. Next slide, please. So this is graphical presentation of all these issues which I discussed. Next slide, please. This is also again the presentation in different way. Lack of clarity with regard to profit, fear that vulnerable group, high upfront cost for implementation, lack of trust users. These are all barriers, the risk in setting up this plan. Next slide, please. Environmental barriers. Yes, despite several significant environmental benefits of biogas, few researchers note that the potential negative environmental aspects such as noise pollution, odor complaint, and the needs for abundant water resources for biogas digestion. Anaerobic digestion requires abundant water resources. In the technology where we use the water in proportion of 1:1, manure to be loaded into the digester. For the reason biogas production may not be a problem in the wet season, but may be a problem in dry season, especially where the distance to water supply is large and in region where limited water availability is there. So environmental barrier is again there in setting up this plant. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is one good slide, you can say, because I'm showing the anthropogenic methane emissions and natural methane emissions. This red one is anthropogenic methane emissions. The sources are livestock, landfills, rice fields, coal mining, gas oil industry, biomass burning. And green one is natural methane emissions from wetlands, freshwaters, geological, hydrates, wild animal, and termites. I think in few presentations you might have seen this also. Next. Now we will discuss something about the protocol for the establishment of commercial scale biogas plant. So the basic component of biogas technology is a complete system we are already discussed in previous sessions. Now we should highlight the relevance of the technology in terms of its potential to ameliorate some of the development problems and potential that exist for the promotion of this technology in your country. So participants should be able to enumerate problems generally faced by the developing countries that can be resolved through the adoption of biogas technology, explain the potential of biogas technology in the country, and explain how biogas technology can help improve the socio-economic condition of the people of your country. The attainment of the national objective of providing better life for its citizens means you'll have to show the importance of this program. How this solar energy or the wind program became very popular in most of the countries because the planner could explain that they could justify the development of this technology in their country. So all economic policy planning initiatives have a direct and indirect impact on the demand for the supply in commercial and non-commercial energy use. So furthermore, various policies of energy consumption and energy investment influence the performance of the non-energy sectors of an economy. So in India, there is one ministry, MNRE, we call it MNRE, so which has the policy, which has a scheme for implementation of this commercial size biogas plant. The program is called Waste to Energy. So under this program, we get a lot of incentives and we are, the subsidy is there, institutional financing is there. So sufficient publicity and field visit programs are there. from our country, delegation goes to different countries, and we see how this program is being implemented in different parts. So evaluation study is required for the program which has already been implemented, the methodology adopted in different countries. We should make the project report on that, and then financial performance, the viability report, monitoring and supervision. So perhaps it would be appropriate to assess the viability of commercial size biogas plants in different countries. So some aspects that merit attention in the new scenario, or whether the day-to-day operation of commercial biogas plant can be contracted out, whether it is possible to develop a market for them in this study in biogas. So accordingly, we should make the plan for execution of this kind of program. Next slide, please. So policy instruments, modern bioenergy development through its environment and social economic impacts may have positive or negative effect on the 4 dimensions of security: availability, access, utilization, stability. These are all to be considered in policy instruments. So in order to ensure that modern bioenergy development is sustainable and that it safeguards food security, a number of good practices can be implemented throughout the bioenergy supply chain. So biofuel mandates set a minimum volume or share of liquid biofuel to be blended with additional fossil-based fuels. You people might have heard that in case of bioethanol, up to 20% blending is allowed, or it is mandatory in few parts. So in biodiesel, it is blending is allowed up to 8%. Similarly, there should be some mandate for the biogas also. If you are using LPG, or if you are using natural gas, then some part of that should be, so that should be mandated. So in policy instrument, that should be included. So some in Europe, in US, they implement that biofuels. So these requirements address the environmental sustainability of few biofuel mandates are also concerned. And then certification is required. So national standards for certification, mostly in bioethanol, biofertilizers, we consider ASTM, American Standard for Testing Material. So accordingly, as per ASTM, in India, we have designed BIS. Similarly, in other countries also, they should also design these standards for their country. The biogas which is being produced and sold in the market should have some standard. They should meet out some standard. That what should be the cetane, what should be the pour point, what should be flash point of this fuel. Similarly, for biogas also, this should also be designed properly. And then the financial incentives, yes, direct payments, tax credits, payments for environmental services like the CDM and benefit in the grants. So in these 4 forms, financial incentives should be given, and capacity building is must through educational institutions, to the training institutes. There should be provision for capacity building for the people, those who want to set up these plants. So I think this is all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I would like to close my presentation, wishing you all the best. Thanks, organizers, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shukla, for this, Dr. Shukla, for this wonderful presentation. So basically, we are now open for the question and answer session. If the participants, you have any questions, please kindly raise your hands, and then we can one by one take the questions, please. So I think we have one participant, that is Mr. Veera Singh. Please, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Thank you very much, Mr. Shukla, for a very interesting presentation. But when we go through the presentation, the major aspects which we come into that go for a commercial scale biogas plants is little bit problematic, as you see that in terms of the economy, in terms of the capital cost, and in terms of other things, if there is no subsidy scheme or if there is no other thing. Other than that, if it will be a feasible in case of only the waste management aspect, but not biogas as energy source. So
Yeah.
that the other side also, if the fertilizer aspects and other thing also, if it is open like that, there may be a lot of I think confusions in setting up of the commercial scale biogas. But if you can little bit elaborate little bit more about the areas which you can be, how you can sort out from these, will be I think very thankful for that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. See, in case of like the example of municipal corporations, you might be knowing that they are also implementing this commercial size biogas plant program, but they don't call it biogas plant. They call it waste disposal plant. Means where a company is assigned the work to collect the waste, municipal solid waste from the municipal area. They bring it to one place and convert that through the digester into gas form. And the gas is being utilized to generate power. And the power is fed to the grid at premium price. The government purchases the electricity. Like in case of Haryana, we were purchasing the electricity generated from the municipal solid waste at the rate of 8 rupees 50 paisa per unit as compared to normal price of 5 rupees. So we pay premium for buying the power if it is being generated through waste disposal biogas plant. Only that this kind of project can be made viable. In case of industrialization, you see there are a lot of industries, those who are emitting the effluents from their industry. So whether it is waste heat recovery or it is waste biomethanization through waste, in both the cases, it is being converted into methane. Methane is used for generation of the electricity. So this electricity is again being purchased by the DISCOMs at premium price. So to promote this waste disposal program, some sort of incentive or the government support or government funding is required. So this is one kind of incentive which can be offered. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
you. Any other question from the participants? Okay, sir, I have one question from you, and that is related because you talked about the subsidy or the incentive in order to promote these technologies. I think similar is the case here in Pakistan as well. The tariff, the upfront tariff that has been set by our National Regulatory and Power Authority has like 10 cents per kilowatt hour from municipal solid waste or waste to energy plants. So what do you think that how we can make these things more sustainable, because since the government, they're also moving towards the competitive markets, and if at the same time you have to promote such technologies as well, such projects as well. So what could be the way out, I mean, so that it would be a win-win situation for all the stakeholders?
Yeah, in India recently, Ministry of Petroleum, they announced one scheme called Satat scheme, under which they announced the buyback guarantee. Buyback guarantee of bioethanol, biofuel and CBG. CBG is compressed biogas. Compressed biogas is nothing but the natural gas, biogas. So what they have announced that they will purchase biogas at the rate of 47 rupees per kg for next 5 years. And then after 5 years, the rate will be revised, considering 47 rupees is the best price. Means the rate will be increased. If it will not be increased, at least 47 rupees will be given. So for making the project bankable, some assurance for purchase of gas should be given. So that is there. If you are producing this bioethanol, government is going to buy at the rate of, say, I think it is 54 rupees or 57 rupees. 54 rupees per liter bioethanol. So government will buy for next 5 years. And after 5 years, this will be reviewed again, taking into consideration 54 rupees at the basic price. So that kind of policy is required to be to ensure setting up or investing a large, huge amount for disposal of waste materials. Because bioethanol, again, we are using some agro-waste in Haryana area, Punjab area, in UP, Western UP, from sugar mill, the molasses which is coming out. So we are converting that into bioethanol. But if you are producing the bioethanol or biofuel or biogas in that quantity, there should be a bulk buyer also. So government is bulk buyer ensuring that.
Thank you so much, sir. This addresses my question. So, any more questions from the participants? So I think we need to have we desperately need to have a short break, right? So